Everybody, it's great to be back here again. Tomorrow's Friday, Parashat Bishalach, Shabbat Shirah, we call it the Shabbat of the singing, of the song we sing as we came out of Egypt and the Red Sea split and the enemy was drowned in the sea. We can't begin our portion without giving thanksgiving. This week was so special. The declaration of Donald Trump. If we look in the book of Ezra, right away it reminded me, and I'd like to open up our Torah lesson today with the words of Ezra HaSofer. He says like this, and it's brought down, this is the first chapter of the book of Ezra. Ubishnat achat lechoresh melech Paras, it was the first year of the king Cyrus, the king of Persia. Lechlot dvar Hashem mipi Yirmiyahu. Sort of connects with the words that God spoke to Jeremiah when God told him at the end of the 70 years, the exile will end. He'ir Hashem et ruach koresh. God awakened the spirit, awakened the willpower of the king Koresh. Vayaver kol bechol malchuto v'gam b'michtav leimor. And he made a declaration in front of his entire kingdom, and also in writing, an executive order. For Amar Koresh melech Paras, thus says the king Koresh, the king of Persia. Kol mamlechot haaretz natan li Hashem Elokei hashamayim. All the entire world, he was a world empire God gave him. V'u pakad alai livnot lo bayit b'Yerushalayim, and he commanded me to build him a house in Jerusalem, in Judah, asher bihuda. Mi bachem mikol amo Yihi Elohav imo vayal Yerushalayim asher bihuda. He goes, me who amongst you, from all his nation, let God be with him, and let him go up from Jerusalem in Judah. Vayiven et beit Hashem Elohei Yisrael hu Elohim asher b'Yerushalayim. Let him go and build the house of God, the God of Israel, in Jerusalem. How could anyone come along and claim our Jerusalem? וכל הנשאר מכל המקומות אשר הוא גר שם ינשאו אנשי מקומו בכסף וזהב ברכוש ובהמה. What is he saying? Anyone who's left behind, the Jews that didn't make Aliyah at this time, didn't move to Israel to build the temple, let them help out with gold and silver and other possessions, animals, etc. Imin hanidava lebeit Elohim asher b'Yerushalayim, to donate towards the building of the temple in Jerusalem. And immediately in verse 5, Vayakumu Rashei ha'avot leYehuda uBinyamin, and the heads of the tribes of Judah and Benjamin got up. V'hakohanim v'aleviim, the priests, the Levites, l'chol he'ir Elohim, everyone God awakened et ruho, their spirit, lalot, to go up, livnot et beit Hashem asher b'Yerushalayim, to go build God's house in Jerusalem. V'chol svivoteim, and all the neighbors, the non-Jewish neighbors, the different neighboring countries. Chisku b'ydehem b'chlei chesef u'b'zahav b'rechush u'b'behema u'migdanot. They helped out in gold and silver and everything, animals and possessions. Levad al kol hiknadev, besides all those who he gave in the first place. So we see here, fascinating, is that everyone participates. The whole world was, those who were the neighboring countries were joining in to help Israel come back and build their temple. Continuing, verse 7. V'amelech Koresh hotzi et klei beit Hashem asher hotzi Nebuchadnezzar miYerushalayim vayitenem beit Elohav. So what does he do? He's another executive order, Koresh, and he takes out the vessels that the evil king Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, stole from Jerusalem, put them in his temples of idol worship. Vayotziel Koresh melech Paras al yad mitredat hagizbar. He takes them out by his secretary Mitredat. Vayisparem l'sheish batzar hanasi liYehuda, and he counts it before Sheish Batzar, the prince of Judah, and he goes and he lists the things that they took, and the whole, of course, idea all these vessels were returned and given back to Jerusalem. My dear friends, when I read these verses in the book of Bishalach, right away what happened this week with Donald Trump, standing with Israel, standing up with our Prime Minister Netanyahu, and declaring that he will not give in to terrorism, and with his proposal of finding a better haven for the Azatians, those in Gaza, was a fascinating, direction that we would deem anyone who would hear such an idea that coming from Israel, that come from other people right away, this would be considered racism or, something not moral, etc., etc. But Donald Trump has made this something legitimate, a legitimate claim. And I just want to say, in reality, if anyone in the world out there really cares about refugees and cares about innocent people suffering, and they want to have their lives saved and rectified, so here they have an opportunity to jump on the wagon and say, okay, let's take in refugees. But I want to remind you all, we're talking about, to this very day, over 80% of support, if not only participated, tens and tens of thousands, part of the army of Hamas to go and run across into the southern part of Israel and rape and murder and kill and destroy with no other goal in mind, just bloodthirsty and animalistic behavior to kill Jews, just like the Nazis did. Nothing else in mind. And that, the world very quickly turned their back on Israel. Right away, Israel became the villain, doing war crimes. Unbelievable lies in the world that just constantly hates Israel. But Israel did not give in, and Netanyahu stood strong and fight. And, stood his ground and fought off the evil. And we can't forget for one moment, they're still holding our hostages. And Israel, we were all looking, with our prayers to heaven, praying to Hashem that He will stand with us, as He always does, stands with His nation. And of course, our brave soldiers that were fighting for months, for over a year, to return our hostages, to defeat the enemies of Israel. And lo and behold, now we're in an interesting, a brand new situation where now Israel has a true friend, Donald Trump, who's standing with Israel and realize someone just common sense, to see the truth, to realize to separate between good and evil. People have a hard time, unfortunately, some things that you would think are so logically simple to decipher between good and evil, but some people have a hard time with it. This whole progressive liberal poison that they're poisoning people with is always jump and take the underdog. They're looking for the weak one. And the problem is, in their eyes, how they define what weak is, and always looking to usually they stand with evil. And unfortunately, this has become so dominant in the United States and other countries of the world. In Israel, we have our share of it as well. And all countries, of course, of Europe have been taken in by this progressive blindness that always is going to, everything is going to turn around literally. Logic, what you think is normal, it becomes abnormal. What the abnormal becomes normal. And here, finally, a leader like Donald Trump, who's not afraid of anybody, knows he's fighting against all the things that are so immoral, and people now are shocked. Well, what's going on over here? What's happening? But in reality, he's standing and fighting against the immorality of what has become a lot of the United States in the inner and very, very deep positions of government. And again, it's not only the U.S., it's the Europe, of course. And in Israel, we have our deep state as well, difficult issues here that we're contending with. And these poisonous ideas have corrupted the minds of many. And in reality, the point, where does it all come from? It comes from really one thing, and that is those who are atheistic, do not believe in God. The minute a person turns away from God, So in reality, everything changes. The way he views the world and the way he sees things is so different than those who stand for the values, the godly values that we were given by the Torah. And these values were being challenged. These values were being, to this very moment are being challenged. And that is really the battle. So in Israel, those who stand up and say, no, the land of Israel was given to the people of Israel. God gave us, it's no other country. The world has a book, which is a deed to the land of Israel, which is the Bible. We can show, look, these are the boundaries of our country. And fighting and standing up. But those who don't want to accept the word of God, so they choose to walk in the pathways of evil and turn Israel into the demon, which is unbelievable. And in the courts in Hague, what they did to Netanyahu and former defense minister Gallant to demand their arrest. And it's unbelievable to think about that. And I want to bless President Trump for what he's done for us, and bless him that he succeeds in many of his endeavors that he's trying to do for the sake of the United States to really turn around the situation. And of course, we do hope. Again, I'm not talking now about how this will be implemented. We don't know, again, what's going to be, what's going to unravel from this declaration. Obviously, the Hamas will never give in, because they want to continue to rule in Gaza, and they want to continue to wreak havoc and try to kill as many Jews as they can. That's the goal, to wipe out the people of Israel. And it's a very complicated situation, but we will see, and we hope, and that this will continue to develop into a very, very special situation where there will be a really new order here in Israel, in the Middle East. And Gaza is part of the country of Israel. It's part of the biblical borders. And we are hoping, God willing, that one day it will be safe for anyone to be able to walk along the coast of that part of the country, and the beautiful Garden of Eden that it can be turned into, that it was before the Jews were thrown out of their homes, and God willing, they will return there. And we'll see. We have a lot ahead of us. I mean, the world, this is a very challenging time. It's going to be a challenging months to come, but the feeling of the brotherly love, this standing with us, and a true ally now. And until now, that wasn't felt really in Israel. And we do pray for continued cooperation and blessing from the United States. And I can only have good things to say until now of what was done towards Israel, by Donald Trump. And his government just came in and literally within a couple of weeks have done a lot of great things for Israel. We have to really be thankful for that. And of course, I always say it, as we begun the lesson, we spoke about Ezra HaSofer. Ezra, where God awakened the spirit. These sparks are so powerful. And people who are merit to listen to the heavenly voices and to do the proper thing, those are the ones that will move mountains and make real good changes in the world. And that's really a blessing. I have nothing really more, no words to really say about what's going on. We just got to pray for the best and hope things will just continue to get better. Od yoter tov, as we say, better, God willing. And of course, at the end, everything will be judged by actions on the ground and seeing what's going to happen. So let's just brace ourselves for that.